Welcome to Central News, I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, current Wellington City Council Chief Executive Gary Poole has been confirmed as the new Chief Executive of Tauranga City Council. He will start his new role within the month of April and will replace Interim Chief Executive Lee Orton. Mayor Stuart Crosby says he believes Gary Poole will bring a range of skills and experience to the job.
Now, Gary was the former CEO of Wellington City Council for 15 years, highly experienced, and I describe him as a good safe set of hands, and he's really motivated to come here. So he's gone through all the reforms of Wellington, which was quite a grey city for a while, to now a very dynamic city in my view. I love Wellington, and Gary's managed all that in his tenure there, so I think we're very fortunate to get him, and we're quite excited to have Gary up here in Tauranga.
More than 100 Bay of Plenty students are geared to compete in a sustainability battle at Papamoa College this week. 7 Bay schools each have 10 to 15 students battling for the Enviro Challenge Competition 2013 title by using tips from their sustainability sector working coaches and their own innovation in 8 separate challenges on Wednesday. Afterwards, each team will return to school to implement their own environmental action plan during the year with guidance from their coach. Enviro Challenge New Zealand Charitable Trust Chairman Callum Revfem says the biggest change to the year-long challenge is each school team is equipped with a coach who works in the local environmental sustainability sector. Hamilton City Council Chief Executive Barry Harris has been given a 2.9% salary increase, which takes his salary from $367,000 to $377,648. The salary increase was agreed at a public excluded meeting of council and confirmed after discussions between Mayor Julie Hardacre and Mr Harris. Mayor Hardacre confirmed the Chief Executive's employment agreement required automatic payment of any market movement identified by a recognised remuneration consultant. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, your Tuesday, rain. Fresh northeasterlies and an expected high of 21 and an overnight low of 17. Tauranga, heavy rain and strong northeasterlies. Your expected high is 22 and an overnight low of 19. Just ahead, nutrition advice for those who suffer IBS. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. The month of April is Irritable Bowel Awareness Month. I spoke with a nutritionist to see how to relieve the symptoms through diet.
Well, IBS is a frustrating disorder. It's can cause a wide range of digestive symptoms like constipation, diarrhea, cramping, bloating, gas, lots of unpretty symptoms that can become quite embarrassing for people. And yeah, many people, I guess, perhaps have irritable bowel syndrome symptoms, but they have never really had any clear diagnosis. So.
Is there a reason that you're so interested in the foods that affect IBS?
Yeah, well, firstly I have a condition which is known as ulcerative colitis, and now that's an autoimmune disease, also known as an inflammatory bowel disease. So I need to make clear that this is not the same as irritable bowel syndrome, but the two conditions often possess quite similar symptoms, such as bloating, gas, constipation, frequent toilet visits, etc. All the embarrassing things. So yeah, from a nutritionally speaking point of view, the two I feel can be treated in quite similar ways. So yeah, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis 10 years ago when I was 15, and from the word go was basically taking immunosuppressant drugs and prednisone during acute phases. Yeah, so these medications, they are mostly successful, but they're only generally popping on a band-aid, so and not getting to the root cause of the problem. And they're not much fun to take, and they have lots of nasty side effects. So a couple of years ago, I decided I'd had enough of medication and begun my journey on learning of the treatment of disease with certain foods. So the combination of my study towards my nutrition degree and plus my own research, I discovered that there might actually be a solution to my disease and, yeah, hopefully help other people.
That sounds interesting, Jess. So can you give us some insight into what sort of foods we are actually talking about here?
So from personal experience, for me, I've found that first of all, eliminating all junk food is the obvious thing. Sugar, grains, and we're not just referring to refined grains here. I've found the complete elimination of almost all grains has been really helpful. Vegetable oils, and yeah, there's other sort of artificially sweetened products that are definitely good to avoid. So it's really important to, especially with oils in particular, omega-6, which is deemed as a healthy fat, which it is. However, in excess, it actually causes a lot of inflammation in the body. So it's quite a good idea to try and steer clear of vegetable oils and choose safer fats to cook with.
So what is a safer fat?
A more stable fat to use is, believe it or not, animal fats. Butter, coconut oil, they're much more stable in heat. Your vegetable oils, because they're really high in omega-6, they're just really unstable in high temperatures. So when we cook with canola oil and sunflower oil, it's just, it's bad news. And funnily enough, not too long ago as well, we were again using animal fats to cook with. So it's about going back to basics and
So you're basically saying that if we cut out a lot of those modern foods, we'd be a lot better off?
Yeah, I reckon. We basically need to get back to basics and eliminate as much processed foods as possible for the treatment of IBS and treat many other health problems as well. Some of the foods I mentioned above are not solely for the treatment of IBS. Like, I believe that they would certainly help in the treatment of many diseases in our day and age.
Well, that makes sense. So a diet low in sugar, grains and bad oils, as you say, is a great start. Is there anything else that you think is quite good?
Certainly. Someone who adapts a wholesome, natural diet can take things even a little bit further, because I guess at the end of the day, not one body is the same, and what might work for one person might not work for somebody else. So it's important to trial and error with foods and listen to your body and whatnot. So there are other sort of diet plans out there that can help people with IBS. There are these things known as FODMAPs, which stand for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides and polyols. That's a bit of a mouthful, but there are many healthy foods that are high in these FODMAPs, which are a variety of carbohydrates, and they can irritate the gut and sort of be fermented by our gut flora and cause symptoms of IBS like bloating and gas and whatnot. So things like apples, cauliflower, onions, for example, are foods high in FODMAPs, and so there's plenty of information online about that sort of stuff that people can play around with.
So you've given us some insight into some foods to avoid. Are there any foods that are particularly healing? Yep,
for sure. So it's important for someone with IBS to eat lots of anti-inflammatory foods. So omega-3 is a really good start. Foods high in omega-3 are really good quality meats. Eggs, organ meats. Most people really don't like the idea of organ meats, but lamb's fry is really nutritious, and I've got some great recipes for lamb's fry. Seafood, fish and eggs. Sorry, I said eggs again. Including gut-friendly sort of probiotics into the diet. So taking a good supplement is a really good idea. Or even better, getting into the habit of eating fermented foods. So that's kefir, sauerkraut, things like that. Other important things are, if you can tolerate dairy, making sure that your dairy is as unprocessed as possible. Unhomogenized milk you can purchase from the supermarket is less processed, or even better, raw milk if it can come from a good source, as it contains lots of good bacteria that help to heal the gut. And another traditional food that was commonly consumed, which I love, is bone broths. So those bones that we usually throw away or give to the dogs are actually really nutritious, especially for people who have got impaired guts. They're really high in some amino acids, glutamine, that really help to repair the gut, and a host of other important gut healing nutrients.
And the Ministry of Health have some great links from their website for information on IBS. Coming up next, a festival of flowers. Welcome back. A floral extravaganza is about to blossom on the streets of Matamata at their annual Festival of Flowers. Amy spoke with the President and Vice President to find out what you can enjoy.
The Matamata Festival of Flowers is an organisation that every 3 years we run a festival where floral artists come along and create their designs within a theme.
Wow, okay, and can you tell me what both of your roles are within this event?
Oh, I'm the president. Julie's vice president.
Right. And so, Marion, tell me, what is the wide variety of designs that we might see?
Oh, there's a huge variety, Amy. We look at traditional designing, depending on the theme within the court. We look at modern designing. We look at very, very creative ways of doing flowers and greenery and every natural materials, yeah.
And what is this year's theme?
The theme is called A Stroll Along Broadway, which offers a wide variety of interpretations.
And could anyone enter for a design, or do you have to have a background in floral art, or what's the process?
Most of the people who are involved have shown an interest and come along and helped with one of the courts, and after some time they become one of the court holders.
Okay.
And usually people stay for the next festival.
Oh, wonderful.
Once they get involved.
And now it's a bit of a common misconception that these events are just for the ladies. So, Julie, can you tell me who might enjoy this event?
I think everyone would enjoy this event. There's something for everyone. There's always lots of things for children. So it's a nice family outing. And yes, young and old.
Wonderful. And so when and where will this be held?
It opens on Wednesday the 17th, where the opening is at 9 a.m, followed by, it's open till 8 p.m. every evening, and it closes on Saturday the 20th at 8 p.m.
Okay. And how much does the event cost?
Entry fee is $10.
Okay. Now, Marion, what else will be available in Matamata in conjunction with this event?
All right. We work very closely with the Information Centre, and they've arranged to have art out at the tower, and there will also be walks through the drive, and the 3 days there will be actually fashion shows down the street as well in the middle of the day.
Oh, wonderful. Sounds like the whole town is really getting involved with the event. And so, Julie, can you tell me perhaps what some of the more memorable pieces have been over the past years with the Festival of Flowers?
I think over the past years, I would say my memories are more of the whole event rather than individual pieces. We've had some very interesting themes. We've done things about books or songs. What else, Marion?
Last year was our 40th anniversary, so we involved that, having that around the red and that sort of celebrating the 40 years that we'd been going. So yes.
Okay. And so who is this event sponsored by?
Oh no, we don't have a sponsor. We the money we make from this event goes forward till the next time.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So how have you both been involved in the event? What are your backgrounds?
For me, I started floral art probably about 15, 20 years ago perhaps, and yes, because a lot of the people in the local floral art group were part of the festival, I joined in, and yeah, we've got our own little group of people that do a court now, yes.
Oh, wow. And Julie?
Maybe 20 years ago, I was invited by a friend to come along and help her, as she's a floral artist, and I knew nothing about it. Oh. And so I joined in, and I've been coming ever since, and just recently I've started doing floral art with the floral art group.
Wow, okay. And so can you give us a hint as to anything that we might see for this Festival of Flowers?
Our court is titled The Lion King, so that leaves scope for all sorts of things.
Wow.
We've tried to make all our animals from plant materials, Yes.
Wow, so you've had to come up with some really creative
Yes,
ideas.
very much.
Yeah, and Julie?
Yes, we're doing the Phantom of the Opera, so we're looking at the light and dark sides of that, and yes, creating around that, yeah.
And tell me, what do you enjoy about floral design, or floral art?
It's an interesting art form. I love flowers, so I like using the plant material to create designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mary?
I'm similar with Julie. I really enjoy the plant materials and the beauty of the flowers. But I also love the company, and we're all like-minded, and we all just really get on really well.
So it's quite a social
It's
thing
very
as well.
social, and we take into account each other's personalities, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it sounds like it's going to be absolutely amazing. So how can viewers find out more information?
Matamata has a website, and there's also on Event Finder, or if they googled Matamata Festival of Flowers, that would come up and would tell them a lot more.
Wonderful. And tell me, why should people attend?
Why should people attend? I think they will enjoy it. I think they will find that there's vast amounts of beautiful flowers, interesting designs, and just a nice event to go to.
Wonderful.
And I also think that it's not what people think. It's not a vase of flowers with beautiful flowers in it. It's something really, really creative and artistic.
Sounds like a blooming good time at the Monday15 Festival of Flowers, kicking off this Wednesday. Just ahead, the controversial Pilot Bay Boardwalk. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The Pilot Bay Boardwalk has been given the go-ahead. I caught up with the Deputy Mayor to find out the ins and outs of the contested walkway.
What we've got is a boardwalk which will run the stretch of Pilot Bay from the wharf right to Mauau. The extent of it is about 900 metres.
This is not the original plan of where the boardwalk was meant to be. Why have the plans changed?
This is about number 4 or number 5 iteration of where we started. It came obvious to the council that we had to do something. As you can see through the terrain here, there's a lot of wear and tear. It's become very popular. It's only going to get more popular. We can't maintain the grass area any longer the way that we used to, so we've had to put a boardwalk down, and that's really where it started, to address the problems that we've got at the moment. In doing that, of course, if you're going to do a job, do it properly. So we're going to have a good boardwalk, 3 metres wide, that would cater for people walking, and that's where we started.
When is the construction starting, and how long is it expected until we can stroll the Pilot Bay Boardwalk?
We have already gone out to tender, so we've got a preferred tenderer to work with. The intention is that we will start just as soon as possible. I think this month would be appropriate. It's been through a lot of public consultation in the recent days leading up to this. I think we've got it pretty well sorted out. Council has made a firm resolve to go ahead with it. A lot of compromise has been had with those people who are against the boardwalk for various reasons. And after all, this is a very pristine area. We want to keep it as pristine as we can. A lot of people use it, and we want to cater for as many users as possible. And that includes people who want to walk or jog or bike along this new boardwalk and along this area, and also those people who want to picnic and sit on the grass and watch their kids playing and swimming and that sort of thing. So there's a number of users that we need to cater for as a shared use for a very small area, and that's what we're intending to do.
Why does the council want to put this boardwalk in?
Really to address the wear and tear on this ground. In 1998 we addressed the issue. The council had a look at this. We were having some problems trying to keep the turf in a good order. At that stage a boardwalk was proposed. Council made a decision, no, keep it as green as possible, do whatever it takes to keep the grass green, and so we don't have a boardwalk on a very narrow area. We've tried everything. Those days have gone. It's a very popular piece of land, and obviously with the number of cruise ships we're getting in, when you see a cruise ship here and the number of visitors that walk along here, you can understand the attractiveness of it. So really the time has come to address those issues and do something properly here, which will result in keeping as much green space here as possible.
There has been a bit of battle against the boardwalk. What were some of the main concerns against the boardwalk?
I think because it's a narrow piece of land. There are a lot of different users that enjoy this piece of land. We have people who bike, people who walk, people who run along here, as well as people who barbecue, have their picnics here, particularly in the summer, and like to be able to sit in the grass rather than the sand when their kids are playing along the beach here. A very safe area, obviously, for young families to be. So we've got to juggle those users and come up with what's best for everybody to allow as many people as possible to enjoy this piece of land. And so we really heard from the people who like the picnicking and the barbecues and families sitting on the beach, feeling that it's their area that's being interfered with. So that's where we had to work in with them to come to the best compromise we could that would allow for as many of them to do their activity, as well as allow many of the others to do their activity in the way of biking and walking and running and that sort of thing.
And what is that compromise?
We started off initially, once we knew we had to put a boardwalk down here because simply we couldn't maintain this area. We had to look at it from a walkway point of view, and we had a walkway coming along here which would give the best experience, I suppose, to walkers, having it meandering through the grassed area as close to the beach as possible. That created a bit of conflict with those who thought that the boardwalk interfered with their activity, creating a barrier between the picnickers and the beach. So in that respect we have moved the boardwalk around, working in with those people. And the latest compromise, the final plan, is on the big grass area which is behind you. We have moved the boardwalk over to the trees which border the road as far as possible to leave that green space for family and picnickers. So where it started off, the boardwalk going along the beachfront, it has shifted over to more to the roadside as far as practicable to leave that green area uninterrupted between the turf and the water.
And behind you, will it go back closer to the shoreline?
Yeah, if you look at the plan, it meanders quite a bit and it moves in and out. So the idea is to give as best an experience to walkers as we can, whilst allowing people to picnic and barbecue and enjoy this green area as much as possible. So it moves in and out, and also the width sort of moves in and out as well, just to allow for that.
What is the Tauranga Port's involvement?
Tauranga Port very kindly came to the party when we were looking at this boardwalk. They're looking at making a contribution of $200,000 to the project, which is quite significant and quite substantial. So they, obviously being a good corporate citizen, they have a strong interest in this area, particularly as we promote it to overseas people. So that's been great. That's private and public working together. It's a tremendous outcome. So they're more or less picking up about half the cost.
For all things Tauranga City Council, visit tauranga.co.nz. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.